Hello, neighbor. Alicia Dolan here at Creating in My Corner. I'm so glad that you could join me tonight. Sorry about that. I am, as always, I'm working through my technical difficulties. So you may have seen at the beginning, I was lint rolling my my little foam mat that goes in my Stamparatus. It had gotten a lot of glitter and fuzzy stuff on it, and I ordered these little pet size lint rollers. No, they're not pet size. It says Pet Lovers travel size lint roller, extra sticky. So whenever my foam mat or my silicone rubber that goes through my Big Shot gets a little too fuzzy, or even my plates, sometimes I will lint roll them just to get all those extra little bits of paper and fluff off of there, because paper bits and fluff are not always helpful when I'm crafting. So, because I definitely don't want them to get stuck in my ink and make a mess. But tonight we are going to continue on with our Christmas in July Stampin' Sundays. So I'm going to turn the camera around and we'll get started. But tonight I'm planning to use the Trees for Sale. No, I'm not planning to use this. Hold on. Actually, what I'm really planning to use, I had a hard time deciding tonight. There's so many cute Christmas sets. So we're going to use the Peaceful Deer set. And I also am going to use this window dies. So inside, the window dies actually go with a different stamp set. I think it's called Window Wishes. It's really cool, and you can make a lot of great cards with it. If I don't have my window card down here, or I would show you the window card, the window shaker card. Maybe it's down here. I don't know what's down here and what's not. Everything is kind of all over the place right now. I'm trying to declutter and trying to clean up and trying to put things back after the garage sale. And so I will be honest, everything is kind of a mess, which maybe is why I can't figure out what to use or what to create with, or even what I'm doing. So hopefully we can make a wonderful card here together tonight. I am looking forward to some crafting time. I'm going to turn the camera around and we're going to get started and see what we can come up with. I did try to plan this out in advance, and for whatever reason, my creativity was stuck and I didn't like anything I made this afternoon. So hopefully, with your help, maybe a little input from you, things will go a little better than they did earlier. So I'm going to turn the camera around. We'll get started and see what Christmas in July has in store for us. All right, so now we are over here at our crafting space, And if you are crafting along with me, stamping along with me tonight, I am, let's see, I already lint rolled my Stamparatus foam sheet, and I'm going to put a new grid paper on there. And tonight I am planning on using some cherry cobbler cardstock and evening evergreen ink and some thick basic white. At least that's my plan at this point. We'll have to see where our crafting takes us. So this set is actually out to just be a little buffer for my Stamparatus plate. It's not, I'm not planning on using it, but you never know what might happen. But the Peaceful Deer, the window dies, and some cherry cobbler paper. And I have out, let's see, I've got some cherry cobbler cardstock and this paper here from the Lights Aglow set of papers, which I got just recently and I really like. It's very pretty. So hopefully that is what we'll be working with tonight. And we're going to build a window. And it was my hope to put a Christmas tree inside that window on the front of our card. But I wasn't extremely happy with the color of my window. And I'm not sure what to do about it. So hopefully as we go along tonight, we can figure it out. I don't see any comments yet. If you are watching and you want to comment or you have a suggestion, I am very open to suggestions. So I think what I'll do first, unless I see some other suggestions, and I don't right now, I'm going to make a base out of the Whisper White thick cardstock. And even if I don't use it, I will have it ready and we'll see what we can come up with. So I'm putting it in here so that the 11-inch side is along this way and the 8.5-inch side is this way. So I've lined it up here at 4 1/4 and I'm going to score it there. And then I'm going to turn it sideways and I'm going to cut it at 5.5 inches. And that will give me 2 basic white card bases. So let's just sit those right over here for now. And I also have a cherry cobbler base here. And my original plan was to take this cherry cobbler base and this piece like this, but I wasn't exactly happy with this piece. And then layer our window on top of that, kind of like this. So, but I wasn't happy. I wasn't really thrilled about it. So then I thought, well, maybe it needs to be over here on a piece of white, but I wasn't exactly happy with that either. But I know I want this little Christmas tree inside a window. So I'm wondering if maybe this was too, maybe it was too plain. I don't know. I'm struggling a little bit with it tonight and I'm not sure how to fix it. So let's start with this. Let's start with this white and see what we can come up with. And I'm going to get another piece of cherry cobbler out because I think maybe that will help. Okay, so this is a piece from the Lights Aglow Specialty Series paper, and this is in the mini catalog. So let's take this piece, and it's 3 inches wide, and I know that my card is 4 1/4. So let's take that let's see. I'm just not sure what I want to do tonight. I'm really indecisive. Okay, so let's take that, and I'm going to cut that at 5 1/2. So that it goes like this. And then I'm going to take this piece of cherry cobbler that measures 3 1/4, and I'm going to cut that at 5 1/2 as well. And I'm going to layer this up before I put it together, just to be sure that what I'm doing is what I want to be doing. And if you are signed up for my email list, then I will send you out all the measurements this week. And if you're not signed up for that, you can sign up at the top of my Facebook page. There's a little link that says sign up. Let's see, and I want my tree to be behind my window. But what color do we want our window frame to be? I'm thinking that the white is too much. So what if we did, let's check our browns and maybe grays to see if we have another color. This is, let's see, that one isn't a full piece. This is a dark gray, but we can use that to decide what we think about the window. And then here's gray granite. There's soft suede. You know what? I'm kind of liking that soft suede. So let's try that. Let's see. But we should probably look at early espresso as well, just to be sure. And I think our soft suede is going to be, I really like that, the look of that against the other one. So let's try that tonight. I'm going to see if I have a little scrap piece over here that would be the right size for a window. One, two, three, 4. So I'm going to cut it this way at 4. Oops. My blade's getting a little bit old, and so I probably need to swap it out, and I haven't done that yet. Okay, and I am gonna take this and run it through the Big Shot, and I will be right back. If you need to know how to run your dies through your Big Shot, I will be doing a video soon just about the Big Shot. I don't have the new Stampin' Cut Emboss machine, so I do have the small one. Oh, maybe I could show you on that. Here, let's see. I'm going to move my Stamparatus. Like I said, my table is kind of a mess right now, so I can't always find everything I'm looking for. Let's see. And I think, yeah, and this is a little bit too wide. I'd have to cut it again to run it through, and I'm trying to save paper. So back to my original plan for tonight. I don't see that anyone has questions yet, but I can see that some of you are watching. So thank you for joining me. I figure it's a good night to stand and craft. It's pretty hot out. But where I am down in the basement, it's very cool. So, all right, we're gonna take our, this is the inside of the window. I'm not sure what we can do with that, but I'm sure I'll figure something out. And then we can use our take your pick tool. This is just the end of my take your pick tool to get our die out of there. And when I made this first window over here, I made it 4 pieces thick. Now this is just basic white. So what I'm going to do is cut out 2 more of this shape, but just in the basic white to layer behind that window. And my basic white is right here. And I'm just going to grab a piece. Oh, that's a card. Nope. A card that I measured wrong. So that will work perfectly for my window layer. I'm going to run that through and then I'll show you how I glue them together. Okay, so here are my next 2 pieces. I'm just going to poke those out of there. And I did run through 2 sheets at once this time. So I've got to separate them in order to glue them back together. And I think 3 layers will probably be enough. So I'm going to put my die back away. Right click. And now, when I glued them together, I used my silicone craft sheet and I laid it down on the bottom. I put down my first layer. And then I'm going to add some liquid glue. And I'm just going to do a thin line all the way around that first frame. And I'm going to work kind of quick, but I'm going to try to use as little glue as possible. All right, so then I'm going to line this one up over the top. down here at the bottom. And the reason I'm using the silicone mat is because that liquid glue is really sticky. And if it gets off the edge, if I were working on a piece of grid paper, the glue could stick to that grid paper. And then the next thing that I put on top of that will stick right to it. And I don't want that kind of frustration. Tonight, I've already frustrated myself enough today, this afternoon. All right, so now I'm working on the second layer. And I'm just adding another thin round of glue. And then I'm going to put this soft suede window on the very top. And I'm going to do my best to line it up nice and even. And the nice thing about that liquid glue is it doesn't dry immediately. So you have just a minute if you want to scoot it around, or if you don't get it quite to the edge, you can adjust it a little bit. All right, so there is our window, and I think I like the color of this one a little bit better. Now, if you're worried about the edges being white, then you could do all the layers in soft suede instead of the layers behind being white. But I'm not as worried about that, at least not yet. I might change my mind later. Okay, so now pieces around here. Okay, so we have our white card base, our cherry cobbler piece, then our cherry cobbler lights aglow paper, and then we'll have our soft suede window. And I do think I'm gonna like that better than the way I had it before. Okay, let's see. I think, please try something. I think that this white is a little too stark against the window. I'm not sure. Okay, so I think we need to cut this out in soft suede. Let's do that. So when you open up your dies, there is an inside window piece. So we're going to cut that out. And the way we'll do that is we'll put our soft suede back on there again and layer these up. So our outside window frame is going to go first. And then this inner window frame. And then we'll get this image and a second outer frame, but that's not what we're looking for. We're just looking at this particular piece right here at this point. So once I get my top plate on there, I'm going to squeeze those together to hold them in place and then run them through the Big Shot. And don't forget, if you have any questions, just ask them in the comments and I will answer them as soon as I can. Sometimes I can see them while I'm doing the video, and sometimes they don't show up until after. And I'm not sure why that is, but either way, I will do my best to answer. Okay. So now we have our inside window piece. And let's see what else. I'm going to put this back in my take your pick tool before I forget where it went. All right, let's line our things up again here and see what we've got. So I've got my tree. I can't figure out exactly where I want that tree to be. Let's see. Good grief. I think if we put it right there, that's going to be good. Then we can add some little sequins to our tree. Let's see. I don't know. Does that seem a little too plain? I'm not sure, but I think we're gonna go with it and we'll see what happens. Okay, so I'm gonna add a little bit of glue onto this frame here. And I can't see at all if anyone is commenting tonight. So if you are watching, then I'm sorry that I can't tell. I would generally say hello to you. And I'm glad you're here. So if you're watching, I am glad that you're here. I know it looks like I'm making a total mess of the glue tonight, but that's why I'm using that silicone sheet so that I don't end up all too sticky. I will get sticky, I'm sure, but not too sticky. All right, so let's try and line this up on our tree here. And I want it to be in the picture. All right, so there is that. There's our tree. And then we're going to glue our, whoops, that's just the regular frame. I'm going to glue this frame on there. And this is, I believe this is the same set that we used last week. Let me see. No, it isn't. This, if you haven't watched last week's card, I know, squirrel, right? Then you should watch it because it turned out really cute. This was the one from last week, Christmas greetings, and it featured the trees for sale stamp set, which is the one that's sitting here on the side. So this is a really cute set. It's another set um, from the mini catalog. And there are dies that go with it that are in the celebration catalog. So you can only get those if you spend $50 or more. So if you ordered the stamp set and you want the matching dies, then you have to get a couple extra things. But you could choose the stamp set that I'm working with today, the Peaceful Deer. You could get some Cherry Cobbler and Evening Evergreen paper. You could get the Lights Aglow paper. All right, so there is our window. And then what I'm going to do is just trim that off with my scissors. So if you're trying to trim off something that has a little bit of an edge, I don't know if you can see that, but see how there's a little bit of an edge because we built that up. What you want to do is take your scissors and trim at an angle towards that back piece of paper. So we're going to trim around this edge. And it's not as crucial in this case, but anytime you're trimming with your snips, you want to turn your paper and not your scissors. So I hope that makes sense. So here we are. We're going to go right around this edge and see how I turned my paper. I didn't turn my scissors. I turned my paper. So I think that's a little bit different than when you're sewing because you wouldn't be turning your fabric all the time. You'd be turning your scissors to get around. My friend Karina over at Bella Blue is always sewing, and so she could probably tell you more about that. She does wonderful sewing and embroidery, all kinds of wonderful things. Okay, so there is our window. And I think it looks pretty cute. Okay, so let's see what we've got now. I'm going to move that sticky silicone craft sheet right out of the way. Okay, so we've got our cherry cobbler, our lights aglow, and I know it's not perfectly straight. We'll fix that when we get to the next part. And I did leave a little sticky part up here, so I'm going to have to be careful putting that down. And I think we could put our window off to the side a little bit. You guys, I still think it's a little too stark against there, but I'm not sure what else to do about it. Okay, so let's put it down a little bit towards the bottom. And how about if we add some ribbon up here around the top? Or do you think our bow should be right on the window maybe? Maybe right at the top of the window. And then we need a little sentiment. Okay, let's see. I'm going to put this off to the side for a minute while we figure out what we want our card to say. So how about we could do sending love and peace this season. Oh, and we could even cut out, oh, we couldn't cut out a little bow. No, I think I like the other one better. Okay, so let's do that. We're going to do Sending Love and Peace this season. We're going to stamp that on a piece of white. Let's see if we have a little smaller scrap over here. That one would be better. And we can stamp that in Cherry Cobbler, I think. Hello, Pauline. I hope you're doing well tonight. I like when I can see you guys' comments. I like to say hello to you. So thank you for saying hi. I'm glad you're here, and I hope the Christmas in July series will help you get started on your Christmas cards. I know it's helping me for sure. Okay, so there is our sentiment, sending love and peace this season. Let's see. I cannot see where I put my chamois. Oh, I covered it up. I keep covering things up tonight, so it's making them hard to find. I think that one will fit kind of nice. Okay, so this is the Beautiful Shapes dies, and they have a couple in here that are swirly. If that, I know that's not a real technical term, but it's what they are. So the circle, this largest circle has kind of a swirly, this little rectangle has a swirly, and this shape here that's not symmetrical at all has a swirly thing. Whoop. So I am going to cut this out, and I will show you what that looks like in just a minute. Oh, and I didn't get all the way to the edge of that one. So see how it cut off a little bit right here? I'm going to trim it up. So I'm going to go around. If you look really closely at this, I don't know if you guys can see it in the camera or not, but there is a little embossed line around here, and I'm just going to cut around that first line. I was talking to someone yesterday at a birthday party, and she said, I'm really excited to know that people still stamp. I didn't think that they did that anymore. And I said, yes, I do. I stamp all the time. So hopefully she'll be encouraged to continue crafting with stamps. Okay, so I cut the edge of that off. And what I'm thinking is I'm going to cut out another one of those shapes out of this cherry cobbler. And then I'm going to stick it behind that one. Especially since I trimmed off that little bit of the end. So let's see what we've got now. We have our window and our pieces, and then we can put this like this. I am going to trim off a little more on this side because it has a little sharp spot right there. Let's see. Sometimes if I start trimming like this, I will keep trimming until I've trimmed too much and then I have to start over. Hopefully that is not going to be the case. Okay, so then we can line that up on the inside. I almost think that's too big, you guys. I don't know. What do you think? I think that might be too big. Oh, let's see. Just because it covers up a little bit too much of the window. Let me see if we can do a different shape. But we've already cut it out. So I'm going to stamp it over again and I'm going to save that for something else. All right, here we go. See, there are some times where, I don't know, it takes a while when you're designing to get just the right thing. Okay, I'm going to take my stamp set back out. And here is my sending love and peace stamp. And when I'm stamping, here's a little tip for your stamparatus. When I'm stamping, I try to get my magnet as close to my stamp as possible, but on the opposite side of where the hinge is. So that helps when my stamp pulls up my paper a little bit. The magnet works better to keep it in place if it's closer to where the stamp is and on the far side from the hinge. At least that's what I found works best for me. Okay, so let's stamp that one more time. And I'm very happy with that. It's not too often that you use the stamparatus and come out with an image that's less than satisfactory. Let's see. I really like my stamparatus. Okay, and I'm going to put my stamp away. And then we'll put this on our embossing plate so that we can get that cut off. And I'm going to line up that little hexagon. Okay. Then we can put the top plate on and press them together. Okay, and here is our little hexagon. I like that. I like it better. And so I'm happy that we changed our minds there. Okay, let's see. So here is our card. Here's our little hexagon. Now let's see, do we think that needs a little red edge? Grab out the next shape and I'll cut one of those out. Okay, so here is our next shaped little hexagon. And I think that'll be really cute. Okay, maybe it should go down here in the corner. Okay, now I think we are ready to assemble our card. So I'm going to move this stamparatus out of the way. No, I don't have a place to put it. I've stacked up too many things. Okay. So let's put our window over here, all our little pieces. And I'm going to turn this designer series paper over and put some glue on the back. I keep trying to look at the computer screen to make sure that you can see what I'm doing. And I always do a thin line around the edge and then a squiggle down the middle. That is what I found works best for me when it comes to this liquid glue. And then I'm going to glue that right in the center of this piece. And because it's liquid glue, I can scoot it around a little bit and get it right in the middle. As long as I'm close at the start. There we go. All right, and then I'm gonna tie a bow. And in general, when I tie a bow, I tie it upside down. So I'm gonna turn my piece over and tie my bow that way. So I'm gonna cross right over left. Oh dear. And then I've got to slide that through. Okay, and then I have my first step done. Okay, I'm going to put my finger there and pull up a loop. And I am going to go around the front side and through the middle. And I'm going to pull that loop through. I know it looks a little awkward because I am not a very good bow tire. And so I feel like it always feels awkward too. Okay, so we're going to pull up our loop. And I'm not going to pull it tight until I've kind of figured out how it's going to go. So then I can adjust it a little bit. Pull a little bit tighter and adjust it a little bit more. And I think it's too loose still. Okay, you guys, I gotta try it again. All right, so I gotta go back. Oh, the joys of crafting. Sometimes it doesn't go the way you plan. Okay, so back I go. I pulled up a loop on the left. I'm gonna take my right piece around and through the middle. I'm trying to hold it a little bit tighter this time. Then I can pull just a little bit. And tighten it down. It looks like tonight might not be my night for tying bows. All right, I'm going to try to get a pinky finger in each one of those. Hopefully you guys out there are much better at bow tying than I am. Usually this process works for me, but it looks like tonight I might be out of luck. Okay, but what I'm going to do is tuck that through. I'm going to kind of wiggle it around here a little bit. And I didn't pull it really tight yet, so that's going to work in my favor too. And I always try to get a finger in there when I pull so that I'm not pinching my bow flat. Okay, so there, that looks like the best we're going to get here tonight for bows. I'm going to grab a little glue dot and I'm going to stick it in there before it can get unruly. And honestly, I do it a little bit different every single time I make a bow. I wish I had a tried and true method. I know that there are bow makers out there that are designed specifically to help you tie the perfect bow every time, but I do not have one of those. Okay, so this is going to go right on the front of our card. I'm going to turn it over. Oh, now you can see that's a little bit crooked there. All right, and I'm going to put the same kind of glue around. I'm going to do a little thin line around the outside, maybe a little extra here by the ribbon, and then a squiggle in the middle. Okay, and now I'm going to line that one up. Right in the center of the front of that card. Make sure I wait to stick it down a little bit. Oh, I thought it looked like it was in the right place on the back. There we go. Now it looks better. And now that bow can scoot around just a little bit because I didn't glue over top of the bow, but I did glue that part down with the glue dot. Okay, and then I'm going to use some Stampin' Dimensionals on this. To make it stand up a little bit. Okay, and I'm going to glue that a little bit to the left. And then, oh, I didn't glue that together yet. I guess I better do that. I hope you're enjoying this video tonight, I really hope that you're crafting along with me. Or that if you're not, you can go back later and copy the design and make your own cards and send them out. Okay, and then we'll stick it right down here in the corner. So I need, let's see, what do I need? Maybe some Stampin' Dimensionals along the right-hand side here. And I think I probably almost need 2 layers because of how thick that is on the other side. Let's see, I want to make sure I get it in the right place. So if I do this corner here, I should be good. So we'll double them up. Let's see, we'll try one first and see. See, that's not quite going to reach. So let's do 2. And that's only because I stacked up those. Well, first we've got 2 layers here, plus at least a stack of, how many did we stack? I think 3. Oh, it looks like I have a blue dot stuck on there from before. Hopefully that wasn't the one that was supposed to be for my, oh, nope, it wasn't. Must have been on the other side. Okay. Now, we're going to stick this right here. Oh, it looks like I should have maybe put one under. You know what? Maybe we can stick a little stack right under there. Okay. I'm going to do one more little stack. I'm going to try to get them in there. All right, and see how I stuck that right in there on the edge? And then I'm going to peel off the lid. Hopefully, carefully. Got it. And then we'll stick it right there. You can see it just a little bit, but I think it needed a little extra stability right there. Okay, and now we need some little sparkly stuff, right? What do we got? I lost my little sparkles for a minute. Okay. Or I just got yesterday. Little sequence. Let's see here. These are adhesive back seasonal sequins. Let's try some of those. All right, I like these little champagne ones. Those are some of my favorites, but let's try some of these new little sequins here. We have these little gold ones. There are some white ones. There are green ones and red ones. What do you think? You know what? I think with this one, I think I like these better. So let's go with those little champagne rhinestones. I know I'm really indecisive tonight, and I apologize if that is making any of you feel a little crazy. I know that I'm feeling a little crazy. I'm not sure what it is. Maybe, I don't know. But I am feeling a little crazy. So let's get some of these little sequins here on our card. Whoop. All right. Okay, see, I am getting a little crazy tonight. I'm flinging sequins all over the place. Not sequins, rhinestones. See, I don't even know what they are. I'm having a crafting something. I don't know. Okay, let's put one here. And I do want one at the top of that tree. So I'm going to put this one there. And then maybe some little ones. Around. Let's see, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do we think that's enough? No, we don't. We're going to have some more. We're going to have more sequins tonight. We're going to put one up here and one over here. There we go. So now, oh, I wish I would have put it right there. I don't know why. See? Indecision tonight is strong, strong, strong in my mind. I hope that you have enjoyed crafting with me tonight. If you are crafting along or just watching the creative process if you're watching along. So if you like this video, you could give it a thumbs up. I would appreciate that. And I will be back with you next Sunday for another Stampin' Sunday video. And there is our card for tonight. I think it turned out good. I hope that you like it too, and that you can join me again next week for another stamping video. Remember that celebration is on right now through the end of July. So if anytime you order, if you order $50 or more, you get to pick an extra stamp or paper or celebration item. Anyways, if you have any questions, let me know. If you have any questions about videos that I've done, or if you have any requests for something you'd like to see, then let me know. Give me a comment or send me an email, and I am happy to try and accommodate those. Have a great week, everyone, and happy stamping.